Blue Wire. Kirk Cousins, he's going to be a Minnesota Viking. This was the right call.
Cousins pressure, hit as he throws, going for Thielen. He's got it! Touchdown! Oh my! Up by Diggs. Stay up! Oh my God! Oh my God! 30! No way! Touchdown! It's a Minneapolis miracle!
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome into Bleeding Purple, a podcast about the Minnesota Vikings. We are part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network. We are brought to you this week by Untuck It and Manscaped. My name is Tyler Haig. I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Adam Patrick. What up? Good sir. Happy today's Wednesday, right?
Yeah. Sunny Minnesota today, right?
It's shame on you, first of all, for bringing it up. Second
Wait,
of
when's
all,
the sun's taking a break for what, next 6 months?
Probably. We were discussing that recently at work today, where it was like, 6 months. It's legitimate 6 months. But yeah,
you
I can't focus on it.
Get that last April snow shower.
I was telling myself on the drive into work today, I was like, at least there won't be a ton of snow until like after December. I'm like, what a terrible way to live.
What's a ton of snow in Minnesota? Like 3 feet?
Yeah, where you would have to dig out of it. Which again, what a terrible way to live.
A foot is just like another day.
Yeah, whatever. 6 inches at a time is that's gonna suck for driving one part of the commute.
Yeah.
Okay, so enough of this horrible conversation. I don't want to do this. Let's talk about the Vikings. There's some news, a little bit of news, strange news, I would say. Andrew Sendejo has returned to
Sendejo.
Yeah. I guess my immediate thought was why. But to get a little bit more podcasty about it, what do you anticipate his role is going to be on this defense? Because I can't imagine that he's going to come in and start. Harris has looked pretty good, at least good enough to not be losing his job at this point. Depth really not needed at the safety position, more of a cornerback issue, not the position that Andrew Sendejo plays. He's a safety. Got to get the joke in real quick. Is he going to knock out any of his teammates? Are they going to injure? I saw a very funny tweet where he wondering if Zimmer brought Sendejo in to get rid of Rhodes so that he could just get annihilated by Sendejo and then they could move on with somebody else. But back to the original question, what do you anticipate his role being on this defense?
Just depth. Just depth for now. Anthony Harris is obviously the better option next to Harrison Smith, and he's just there for depth. He knows the system. He was a starter for a while, fortunately. Just depth. Nothing to freak out about. I think he's pretty cheap, so they got him, and hopefully he doesn't play.
I would agree with that.
That's about all I got.
Yeah, that's
the Eagles' secondary is terrible, and they didn't want him. So that tells you all you need to know.
Here's also a very real fear of mine. All of a sudden, are they panicking and trying to get the band back together? Because if you're bringing Treadwell in and bringing Sendejo in, and that's your version of getting the band back together, I'm out. I can't. I don't want to hang out for whatever you're about to do. I'm not interested. Yeah, depth.
No, I don't
right?
think so because they brought Marcus Sherrills back this year too, but then they let him go because they figured out who they wanted to be as the returner. So
Fair
they
point.
just bring these guys back. I think Anthony Harris he was dealing with little injuries earlier in the year, so it's good to just take that precaution to have more experience back there, someone who can also lend an opinion even if it's not the best. He probably he has good, insight on stuff, just doesn't always use it to his advantage.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually a pretty good point. He knows the system. He was in it for a long time under Zimmer, so he's definitely going to know what Zimmer is looking for. And like you said, maybe can't pull it off physically, or maybe can't prevent himself from using his head and body as a torpedo and a weapon. But
I feel like He'll probably play special. If he's active, he'll probably play special teams and get a flag for like running into the returner or kicker.
100%. What is the over under? I mean, he has to get a penalty in this football game if he's active, right? I would give it like a 90%.
The one coming up?
If he, yes. If
I don't even know. I don't even know if he'll be active.
If he's active, there are fewer things I will be more sure of in my adult life. Then he will get.
But then that would mean they'd have 5 safeties active, and I don't think they would do that. I think they'd probably rather have more corners active.
You would think so? Maybe this is the start of something special. Maybe they got a big new plan. Maybe they're gonna revolutionize.
Although Trey Waynes was limited today with an ankle injury, probably because they were hurting so much from Tyreek Hill breaking them on Sunday. But
too easy. That's low hanging fruit, friend. That was mean of you. You mentioned Marcus Sherrills earlier. We're going to transition out of the Sendejo thing and into Marcus Sherrills. He signs with the Dolphins. A little bit of news there because he's not playing for the Vikings anymore. But there you go. Anything to say about that?
Terrible team, but he gets to spend his winter this year in South Florida instead of cold Minnesota. So good for him.
There are worse things to do. Yeah, got a job hanging out in Florida. I can think of a lot of worse things to do. Adam Thielen doesn't practice on Wednesday. Do you think that he is about to be or is being shut down for a portion of time? I heard somebody recently, I was going to tell you this, on the radio in Minnesota, give basically the same timeline that you were given with give him a break, then you get the bye, and it winds up being, 3 or 4 weeks all together that
like
he
3.5.
gets to rest? Yeah, something like that. So, I don't know. They're stealing your takes, first of all.
I mean,
second of all, do you foresee that being what they do?
It's a pretty logical thought once you sit down and think about it. So, because are you going to need him? I mean, can you survive? Can you get a win over the Cowboys without Adam Thielen? Yes. Can you get a win over the Denver Broncos without Adam Thielen? I would like to think so. And then you get a bye. And then when you go against the Seahawks, you're probably going to need him. So it's better. Dalvin Cook talked. I think he talked today because he was asked about his hamstring injury and how if he had to give any advice to Adam Thielen, what he would say. And he just said, just make sure you're 100%. Like he said, we want him to be 100%. We don't want him to be 50%. We don't want him to be 70%. We want him to be 100%. And he said, just take as much time as you need to be 100% because he knows last year he tried to come back too soon and ended up costing him like 5 games.
A bunch of games, yeah. This worries me a lot, honestly. I feel like there's a chance that by the time he gets back again, this thing is going to be a disaster already. Because if they lose both of these games and then he comes back, wheels are off, Adam. It's over.
They're going to lose to the Broncos at home?
Just
to
saying, if they do.
Although, they're not good against backup quarterbacks.
That's what I was going to say. Careful now. Chase Daniel and Matt Moore waving from the corner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope the Cook thing,
I'm not worried about
being
it yet.
the most recent thing, I think is what's like messing me up here, is that the last time we saw an important player on this team with a hamstring injury, it was felt like it took way too long for him to get back. I hope they do the thing with the bye, but we'll see.
I'm not worried about it because I think it's different because with Thielen, he gets 6 or 7 touches a game. When someone like Cook goes down and he's getting 20 to 25 touches a game, it's a lot different.
That's true.
So BC Johnson, he's done well in his role. He had to step up, and Treadwell looked decent. We'll see what happens. This week they're gonna need to. Well, we'll get to what they need to do against the Cowboys a little later, but they're gonna need to, run a lot of the quick routes that they were running against when they had their offense, going in good shape earlier in October. So they gotta go back to that. So we'll see.
Ever seen untucked button down? They look bad. Why? Because they weren't meant to be worn that way. Thankfully, there's Untuck It, the original button down shirt actually designed to be worn untucked. No matter your size or shape, Untuck It shirts always fall at the perfect untucked length. And with the holidays near, there's no better gift for your favorite guy who needs an upgrade. I strongly dislike shopping for clothing, and Untuck It is perfect. Not only do the clothes look good, but you can find your favorite Untuck It style online, or you can check out one of their 80 brick and mortar stores. I can choose from styles like wrinkle-free button-down, super soft flannels, outerwear, and more. With Untuck It, your shirts never look baggy, bulgy, too long, or too big. And their website is easy to use. They even have a whole page devoted to helping you find your fit. So whether you're shopping for the perfect holiday gift or just trying to craft a smart, relaxed style of your own, Untuck It is the way to go. Visit untuckit.com and use code BLUE for 20% off at checkout. That's untuckit.com, untuckit.com, and promo code BLUE for 20% off. Moving on, let's talk about Trubisky and the disaster that is the Chicago Bears at
Mitchell?
this moment. Yeah, Mitchell Trubisky. I'm not sure if you've heard of him. Not Steve Trubisky. No, not Steve Trubisky.
Okay.
So story is that he wants all the TVs in the facility turned off.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign.
Especially when you're a quarterback.
Yeah. Here's what I want to ask you, though. Better or worse, which would you rather have? Your quarterback turning off all the TVs in the facility, or your quarterback saying, I'm seeing ghosts on national TV because he's mic'd up? Which one would you choose if you had to choose? Which sucky quarterback situation would you rather
I didn't really have a problem with Sam Darnold saying he was seeing ghosts because he was probably being honest. And, you know, I'm sure he's not the first one to say that.
No, and he's being that aware is, I think, a good sign for a kid that age. Like, he hasn't been in the league for very long, and for him to identify that he's...
Yeah, he's not holding it in.
There's no ego there.
Be known that, hey,
there's no ego there.
I suck tonight.
Yeah, this is terrifying. I'm very afraid.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I would be a little more worried about someone wanting the TVs turned off in the facilities because he couldn't take the negative criticism of his team playing bad. So, you know, if you don't want that to happen, here's some advice. Play better.
Yeah, and also, God, there are so many things that you could... I think it's worse. Trubisky's thing is worse than the Darnold thing. I agree with you. But the Trubisky thing, I think just in general is funnier because they could have drafted...
Everyone says that.
Well, it's like franchise changing, though. I mean, yeah, hindsight, but who before that draft was like, Mitch Trubisky's the guy? They didn't even tell their head coach that they were going to take him because their head coach would have been like, you're dumb.
Who's to say Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes would have been good if they were drafted by the Bears? Because you got to look at Patrick Mahomes. He got to go with Andy Reid. He got to sit for a year.
That's true. I don't think Patrick Mahomes would have been MVP caliber good at this point in Chicago.
No.
But you gotta think he would have been better than Mitchell Trubisky is. Right? Like by a mile. I mean, they'd be scary right now. The Bears would be scary if they had Mahomes on their team.
Even when in Deshaun Watson, the same thing. He landed with Bill O'Brien. I think when Trubisky went with the Bears, John Fox was the coach.
Yep. Correct.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm never really a fan of them being like, oh, they missed out on Mahomes or Watson. I understand that. They didn't have to draft Trubisky as high as they did.
They traded up to get him. Yeah. Like, come on, man.
And everyone's like, why did you do that? Wasn't there some other quarterback that a team did that just recently where they traded up and Daniel Jones. I don't know if the Giants traded up, but they took him just everyone felt too early, like they didn't have to draft him and they could have got him later in the round.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't think Trubisky's time in Chicago is going to last very long. I just wrote about something how Cam Newton is going to be probably available next year, and the Bears seem like a pretty likely landing spot. What would you think about him coming to the NFC North? Would you be afraid of that or care?
Afraid isn't the right word, but I feel like there's a definite concern that he could get back to being a really, really good football player. But that being said, a lot of what Cam Newton did that made him so effective was he was so physically imposing. He was so big, he was so strong, he was so fast. And if he's just big and not that fast and not that strong, and is hurt a fair amount, that kind of changes his game. And I'm not really concerned about him from like a pocket passing standpoint, at least from what I've seen. But that being said, yeah, I mean, I'm a Vikings fan, so there would definitely be like a healthy, oh my God, he's going to tear us apart fear. But that I think is
especially in Soldier Field.
Exactly. And that I think is just because of the team I root for. But isn't this, I would like to say out loud real quick for the record, what an outrageously strange year for quarterbacks. Like we went into this season and it was like the majority of the NFL was pretty much set, where there was a couple of teams where it was like, we're going to tank so we could get this quarterback. But a lot of the other teams had their stuff, or at least thought they had their stuff together. And now all of a sudden it's like Cleveland's got no idea and the Bears have no idea and the Dolphins have no idea. Even. The Saints barely. I guess they kind of do. I mean, you could go, there's just, it's bananas, all the different I guess failures of the quarterbacks, for lack of a better term. Also, funniest thing I've seen in a really long time, Baker Mayfield's press conference with the like hobo looking mustache and clothing.
Did you see why he said he shaved it?
No.
He said well, first he walked in the stadium with a full beard. Then he played with he shaved it into handlebars.
Yeah, saw that.
Then after the game, he shaved the sides off because he said he didn't deserve to have the handlebar mustache because he played so bad.
Every time I want to dislike him, he says some stuff like that, and I'm like, I'm back in, Baker, back on your side.
Listen, I'm not. Yeah,
he's right. He's right. He didn't deserve that.
I'm not worried about Baker Mayfield. I think he's a good quarterback. He's got talent. They're just not a very good team this year. I don't know if their head coach was the right guy. I'm starting to think that. I'm starting to think that he wasn't the reason why they were able to win so many games last year. Because I think their quarterbacks coach had a lot of influence on the way they played at the end of the last year, and he did not return this year. So, but back to the Vikings.
Yeah, that Browns thing is a mess. Back to the Vikings. Support for Blue Wire comes from Manscaped, who is #1 in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. If you have spent any time doing any manscaping, it doesn't take you very long to remember a time where you accidentally caught your beanbag. It's a brutal, special kind of pain, but fear not. That is why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. Their Lawnmower 2.0 has proprietary skin-safe technology so the trimmer won't nick or snag your nuts. Manscaping accidents are a thing of the past. And don't use the same trimmer on your face that you're using on your balls. That's gross. You're better than that. Manscaped has also invented the Crop Preserver, an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. You already put deodorant on your armpits. Why are you not deodorizing the smelliest part of your body? Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code BLUEWIRE at manscaped.com. Always use the right tools for the job. Your balls will thank you. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BLUEWIRE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code BLUEWIRE. Let's talk about this game coming up. Sunday Night Football. I'm very excited about it being a primetime game. Oh, no, wait, I'm not. I'm terrified because they're horrible in primetime games, and Kirk Cousins is awful in these games. Just kidding. Kind of. But, like, where are you at with this team in a primetime game? Do you think that's being overblown? Do you think that the primetime thing is...
They just won in primetime 2 weeks ago against the Redskins, okay? So that narrative is out the door. It's gone. They crushed it. It's no more.
Though?
Yeah, well, it was against the Redskins. They're a powerhouse.
Well put, good sir. Well put.
Yeah.
Do we?
Yeah, and I think the Cowboys are 8-2 at home on Sunday night since 2014. But
Dope.
only one of those wins came against a team with a winning record. So it's a little deceiving.
Okay. I can live with that, I guess, with the winning percentage.
Most of them were
thing.
against the Giants because, every year they used to just open the season against the Giants on Sunday Night Football. Because the NFL thought that was just a great idea every single year.
Sometimes the NFL does the thing where they're like, we're going to manufacture a rivalry here. And it's like, nah, you're not. It's just...
Well, they know that they're going to get huge ratings at night for a Cowboys game and Giants, so they're going to do that. That's why it was like a couple weeks ago when the Packers and Cowboys was like the only 4:00 game because they knew those fan bases were huge. They just want to get a giant rating. Sometimes it's pretty obvious what the NFL does.
If you're looking,
They still get a lot of views. But
yes, yeah, definitely they do.
They help themselves out. Yeah.
What do you want to see from the Vikings in this football game? What are you looking for?
I want to see them get back to what they were running on offense, during that 4-game winning streak. Enough of this. The Cowboys have a good pass rush, so they can't be doing this 7-step drop back stuff. They got to go back to the quick passes, 3-step drops, at the most. Get those out because, one, the Vikings offensive line can't hold up if they're playing against an average pass rush. So they're going against a Cowboys pass rush, which mostly comes from their defensive line. So they have a very good defensive line. So they're definitely going to need their offensive line to hold the block for a second.
Lord willing, a second.
So yeah, more quick passes. Get the receivers across. Quick routes, slants, drag routes. Just get them across quick. Get the ball out. Get the ball to Diggs. Get the ball in Diggs' hands. Just get in his hands. Let him do whatever. Get Dalvin Cook out in space. I think they still tried to do a lot of those things last week, but Cousins was just off a lot on his throws. I think he had like 9 incompletions under 5 yards, and he had like 2 of those in the 4-game winning streak. So it was a weird game.
That
for
to me is
Kirk
like
Cousins. And
to me,
I don't know
that's
if
the difference between good
the
Kirk
weather had
Cousins and
anything to do
bad
with it.
Kirk Cousins. Are those types of throws. Intermediate, shorter stuff. And sometimes he's good and smooth and hits them right where they're supposed to be. And then other games, it's like Kansas City where he just cannot seem to put it where he's supposed to. Even the touchdown throw to Abdullah was like not accurate. Like Abdullah had to go get it. I agree with that, with the things you want to see. Definitely don't want to see very many empty backfield sets. I'm good on those. Those are I'm fine with that. I would like to see. I've been talking about it for a couple of weeks now, but it seems like the screen game, bootleg game, those are exclusive. I would like to see them both, like simultaneously, or not simultaneously, but I would like to see them both utilized repeatedly throughout the game. They were using the screens that they did use last week were impressive. Like CJ Ham had one where it was just like the seas parted and it was just CJ Ham and a bunch of green.
Yeah, was that even a screen or is that just like it would look like they faked a screen to one side and then gave it to Ham on the other side.
Yeah, it was. It worked, but then all of a sudden you got the ball in CJ Ham's hands and everybody caught up to him really quickly because he's a fullback. So I get it.
That's when things probably aren't going as smoothly on offense as when you're like, oh, let's run this play for CJ Ham.
Totally. Maybe get some space going here, hopefully.
I want to see, I want to see Alexander Madison, back in this offense because he only got like 6 snaps.
6, yep.
And that's not a smart thing to do because he was averaging like 20 during their winning streak, and he was a big part of why they were able to be good. Just get in there, and it didn't seem like the running game missed a beat.
He seemed very effective to me.
So that whole him not playing last week really boggles my mind. I don't know if he was hurt or he got caught with a loaded gun in his backseat or something, and So I don't know.
I'm not sure if it was him. I think that was somebody else.
Oh.
Players you're most interested in seeing this week. I want to see Sendejo if he's active, obviously. Keep an eye on the cornerbacks. Do you expect movement from the corner position from a snap thing?
No, because I think the Vikings match up pretty well with the Cowboys receivers, because Amari Cooper is not like a burner type receiver. He's more of like a precise kind of route runner. And then some of the guys lower on their depth chart are guys that will be covered by Mike Hughes and Mackenzie Alexander. Anyways, I would maybe worry about some of the guys, maybe like Randall Cobb or Tavon Austin, some of the speedier guys that the Vikings have seemed to have a little bit more trouble with this year. Trey Waynes. But when I was looking at like stats and stuff today and some highlights or whatever, the Vikings and Cowboys, they're very similar in a lot of ways. They both rely on running back to control their offense, good defense, good defensive line. There's like a lot of their stats are just like it's either the Cowboys and right after them it's the Vikings, or it's the Vikings and right after them it's the Cowboys. So they're very similar. I think this game's going to be probably pretty close, and hopefully the Vikings are the ones that maybe hit a game-winning field goal and not watch a game-winning field goal this time.
It would be so cool.
Dan, I didn't even factor in a Dan Bailey revenge game.
Oh my God, revenge game, doy. We should have led the show with a Dan Bailey revenge game. God,
he's gonna have 6 field goals. He's gonna be NFC Special Teams Player of the Week again.
Of course he is. Oh, yeah, buddy. And it's gonna be a 50-plus yarder that he's gonna kick to win this game in prime time. Oh! I can see it now. I can see it now.
Do the Blair Walsh walking off the field and just point to
the team. Yes. Do the TO thing in the middle of the star after the game, so like nobody can even do anything. Oh my God, it would be.
That would be so great.
God, we can dream. I would love to see that. Yeah, dude. The Dan Bailey revenge game. I'm pissed that we missed that. I should have. Should have had a sounder. I should have had a whole thing for that. I'm really, really disappointed in myself. Do you want to do predictions for this football game?
Do you think it's a must-win game?
God, the most important question. Is it a must-win game? I'm a lot closer to this being a must-win game than I have been. But I think they still can... I think they can lose this game and survive and make the playoffs and still kind of do what they need to do. It's going to be more and more difficult, obviously, as the season goes on for that to be the case, but I feel like they still have some wiggle room this week. Do you agree?
For sure. I don't think this game is necessarily must win. It is an NFC opponent. It's an away game, so it's usually those games you're like better chance to lose than win. But if they do lose, then I do think the following week against the Broncos becomes a must-win game, because you can't lose 3 in a row. You can't lose at home. You can't lose to the Broncos, and so if you lose 3 in a row, then your shot at the playoffs is
this is what I'm saying about the Adam Thielen thing. Is they lose this game, they lose the following game to the Broncos, it might be donezo already. Like it might be over from.
They still got 5 games.
I mean, they still got 5 games, but can they survive losing 3 games in a row? Can they survive? I mean, that's a must-win game. I think we can discuss that when it comes up. Back to the Dallas game.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully we won't have to, because they're just going to win this game in Dallas. And like we said, Kirk's going to play well in prime time, because that's not an issue. We've discussed it. Dan Bailey's going to hit the game winner. It's going to be 50-plus yards. No big deal.
What I did watch was the Jets and Cowboys game before we did this, and the Cowboys just played terrible that game. They had so many penalties. Like they were just like, the Jets win this game, please.
Yeah, please take this from us. We would love you to do this.
So I don't expect a game like that to happen on Sunday. I think it's going to be close. And I don't think it's going to be high scoring.
No, I don't think so either. I think you nailed it. They're so similar in how the teams are built that it could be like, 21-14 is like plausible as a final score.
For sure.
Not my prediction, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Just throwing that out there.
Okay. Well, then I'll pick the Vikings to win, surprisingly. But I'll do like 20-16.
20-16.
What was our last week?
Last week, you said 37-33. What was the final score? Was 26-23? 23-26? What was it?
It was something like that.
Something I can't.
I'm glad we know.
Yeah, God, I was just there. I watched it a second ago. But, and I said 35-28. I knew I was wrong. Okay, 2016 for you. I'm gonna go 20. No, can't do that. Yep, 24-21 Vikings. Got to fit the field goal in there, Adam.
Boy.
Game-winning field goal by Dan Bailey. What is it? What is it?
Sendejo's back.
Oh. I can't hear it at all. There it is. Oh, that is perfect.
Right.
That was perfect. That was, I think that, I don't know how we're going to top that, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know what else we can say. I think they're going to win this game, but it wouldn't shock me if they lost it. But I don't know. After that Sendejo thing, I can't continue. I don't know if I can continue. That was too good. Oh, man. Do you have anything else you need to add? I seriously, that's a perfect way to end it. Skol Vikings. I'll see you Monday after a win.
Yeah.
A primetime win.
Cool.
No problem. Skol Vikings.